1 mole of sodium carbonate, which has formula Na2CO3, contains 2 moles of sodium atoms, 1 mole of carbon atoms, and 3 moles of oxygen atoms. You need to write these in the same kind of way. 1 mole of lead oxide molecules contains 1 mole of lead atoms and 1 mole of oxygen atoms. In other words, 6,02 times 10 to the power 23 PbO, lead oxide, molecules. If you were to pull the Pb away from the O, the lead atoms away from the oxygen atoms, you would then have 2 piles, each with 6,02 times 10 to the power 23 things in, particles. Those particles would now be atoms. And 6,02 times 10 to the power 23 of them, 1 mole of them, would be lead atoms, and the other 6,02 times 10 to the power 23 mole, in other words, of them, would be oxygen atoms. Ammonium nitrate. The formula of ammonium nitrate is NH4NO3. So if you had a mole of ammonium nitrate, then inside there you would have 2 moles of nitrogen atoms, 4 moles of hydrogen atoms, and 3 moles of oxygen atoms. So notice that how much stuff, how much matter makes up a mole depends on what you are counting as a particle. Because 1 mole ammonium nitrate is not the same thing and doesn't have the same mass as 1 mole nitrogen atoms or 2 moles nitrogen atoms, if you like. Because this 1 mole ammonium nitrate contains inside it 2 moles nitrogen atoms plus 4 moles hydrogen atoms plus 3 moles oxygen atoms. So it contains within it quite a number of moles of atoms, and yet we call it 1 mole of this particular formula, ammonium nitrate. So it's vital that when you use the word mole, you specify a mole of what? Calcium hydroxide has the formula Ca and then in brackets OH and outside the bracket 2. A mole of calcium hydroxide contains inside it 1 mole calcium atoms, 2 moles oxygen atoms, and 2 moles hydrogen atoms. That little 2 outside the brackets refers to each of the things inside, each of the elements inside the brackets, the O and the H. 1 mole of CH3COOH, which is a carboxylic acid, contains 2 moles carbon atoms, 4 moles hydrogen atoms, and 2 moles oxygen atoms. 1 mole of iron sulfate with water of crystallization. This .7H2O is water of crystallization, which is water molecules bound within the crystal structure of this particular molecule. 1 mole of this contains 1 mole iron atoms, 1 mole sulfur atoms, 7 plus 4, which is 11 moles oxygen atoms, 7 times 2, which is 14 moles hydrogen atoms. So notice that that 7 refers both to the hydrogen and the oxygen. So it's 7 times 2, 14 for hydrogen, 7 times 1, there's actually a little 1 down there with the oxygen, although we don't write it, which is 7 for the oxygen atoms. 1 mole of lead oxide, Pb3O4 molecules, contains 3 moles of lead atoms and 4 moles of oxygen atoms.